Hello and welcome back to my mental health and crime channel. My name is Huda London. I'm a licensed cognitive behavior therapist and a licensed mental health counselor. Please like, share, and subscribe if you enjoy the contents in this channel. I would like to thank all my subscribers, both my new subscribers and my old subscribers. I would love to thank anyone who takes time and has the patience to watch the contents in my channel. Guys, please like, share, and subscribe. I would like to start by discussing the case, or, actually discussing the new updates from the Summer Moon Utwells case. Summer Moon Utwells was a 5-year-old girl who was reported missing in Hawkins County, Rogersville, Tennessee. This happened on the 15th of June 2021. Candice Bly Wells, that is Summer Moon Utwells' mother, reported Summer missing to law enforcement. Law enforcement, or the dispatcher who placed the call, the 911 dispatcher, said clearly that the mother went for a walk. Law enforcement came to Ben Hills Road, and around the creek areas. They closed down all the roads that were leading in and out of Ben Hill. Summer Moon Utwells' parents, Donna Wells and Candice Wells, told law enforcement that Summer was last seen in the basement of her home. But in the TBI, that's the Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, on the website, it is clearly stated up to date that Summer was seen in front of a house, barefoot. On the 16th of June, the TBI, Tennessee Bureau of Investigations, got involved in this case, and they raised the endangerment alert at once to an Amber Alert. Amber Alert is that's the highest alert that can be put out there, that is usually for someone's life who's in immediate danger. It's been a year and 2 weeks since Summer was reported missing. We have not received any new updates, although we are clear of that the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and law enforcement have to keep all the information close to their vest, because obviously they do not want anyone tampering in this important investigation in seeking for justice for Summer Moon Utwells, and for them to find out where Summer could possibly be. Summer's mother, Candice Wells, who's around 37 or 38 years, I believe, and her father, Donald Wells, who's 57 years old, have had 4 children, Summer and her 3 brothers, all from the age of 13 and under, in their property. Don Wells has had 2 previous children, I believe a boy and a girl. His son is around 32 years old, I believe, and we haven't heard much about the daughter, the oldest daughter. On the other hand, Candice Bly Wells, his second wife, who has had Summer and her three brothers with Donna Wells, has two other children. I'm talking about Candice Bly. She has two other children that the Wisconsin Child Protection Service took out from her care. The reason that I'm going so deep with this is because, as a mental health counselor, I believe it's important to do a case study in every case, because it does give you a bit background about what could have possibly happened, or at least the behaviors of the individuals who are involved in this case. In the property, we have had Grandis, aka Candy Hera. I apologize, she doesn't like to be called Grandis, so pardon me with that. We've had Candy Hera, that's the grandmother of Summer Moon Wells, that's the mother of Candice Bly Wells, and she's the mother-in-law of Donna Wells. She was living in a trailer that is a couple of feet from her daughter Candice and her grandchildren's property. Candice has had two children previously, like I said, that the state of Wisconsin have taken away from her, and that is due to a lot of negligence and abuse going around with her children. Basically, Candice was 19 years old allegedly, and her previous fiancé, the two older children, his father, had a serious criminal background. There's been talk about that her son got beaten so badly by an ex-partner that, I hate to say, he ended up having brain injuries and cognitive behavior issues, allegedly. The children were taken from Candice's care when they were around under 2 years old, both of them. So I guess one was a baby. The daughter was the youngest. I'm talking about Candice's previous children, and her name is Candice Flora, and the son, his name is Andrew. In the beginning of this case, when Summer Moon was missing, we actually saw, allegedly, some posts that Candice had sent to her daughter Candice Floyd, asking to make a relationship with her, explaining to the daughter that she was young and she made some wrong choices. And she was actually playing victim, if you ask me. I'm not being biased, but then I will explain that later. That clearly comes true. We can see that Candice Bly, Candy Hera, her mother, Summer's grandmother, are not searching for poor Summer. That is not only a concern, those are huge red flags that they have brought upon themselves. When Candice Bly did her first interview with WHJL, it was on the 29th of June. That was the same day, if you watch on the news, that Ainsley Daniels, the excellent reporter for WHJL, was standing in the studio, and when she was telling the two studio anchors about the updates, she said that she spoke to Candice, that Candice reached out to her. Candice wanted to do an interview. That was on the 29th of June. Let's not forget that Summer Moon Uta Wells was missing since the 15th of June. I can understand the parents. His anxiety was running high. They were in a state of shock. And I can imagine it's the worst feeling, knowing that your loved one cannot be found. And especially since it's a 5-year-old child, nobody knows the condition of Summer or where she was. So I could understand and say that she wasn't ready for people to judge her, and she was kind of taken back not to do the interview. That could be fair. But then what I don't understand is what happened after the interview was done. Candice has never showed us any empathy or any sympathy or any kind of remorse or any kind of motivation to show us that she has been searching for Summer Moon Uta Wells. I can personally speak for myself, and I'm sure most of the other parents would agree with me. When you have your loved one missing, especially a vulnerable child at 5 years old, we know the cognitive state of a child when they're 5 years old. There's not much they can remember. That is the age where they're most vulnerable and need their parents, their siblings, their grandmother, their aunts, their uncles, if they have teachers in their life. Children at 5 years old are very vulnerable. We have seen in many cases that children are abducted while they could be playing in their garden, or one of the parents just say doesn't have custody to their child, and they go and kind of kidnap their child, abduct their child. That we have seen happening. So when Candice and Dawn reported Summer missing, the red flags immediately that came up for me is that Dawn insisted from day one up to now that it is abduction. And then we saw the first interview that Dawn did with his son, which I won't mention his name since he's a minor. With his 12-year-old son, you could see, first of all, that the boy looked very uncomfortable. I can imagine he's a child, and with all the cameras and the lights flashing on his face, with his little sister missing, that is going to change his behavior. But what didn't make sense to me is that his father, Donald Wells, said in that interview that Summer may not be alive, and he said immediately, I will see her in the resurrection. I'm not a Christian, I'm born a Muslim, but I do know a lot about the Christian faith. It's because I grew up in a British boarding school for many years. From when I was 7 years old to 17 years old, we used to have Sunday schools. And most of my friends up to today are Christians. I have friends from all different kind of faith, which I really do appreciate, because we all believe in one God, most of us. And even if some people do not believe in God, I respect them for their decision. We can agree to disagree. So what I'm trying to say is when Dawn said, I will see summer in the resurrection, that moment my heart sunk, literally. Because, like we are aware of, using such term as the resurrection is like basically the hereafter. And I remember him saying in another interview to share, Voices Behind the Wall, please like, share and subscribe to share. He did speak about the resurrection, and he said, oh, it's only the good people who worked hard who will meet God. And if we are good, then we get to meet summer in the resurrection. That personally for me, and I'm only speaking from my personal beliefs or feelings on how this case was playing out. Like Don himself used that sentence. We've heard somebody else saying that that's when it all played out, and that was Trezell and Jacqueline West. For someone to say that's how it all played out sounds to me like it's a script that they've written. Many people can disagree with me and say play out doesn't necessarily mean that, but that's how the way I took it. We saw the parents keeping on speaking in past tense all the time. You could clearly see it from the first interview that Dawn and Candice did with WHJR, or it was Candice's first interview, the one she has on the blue sleeveless t-shirt, and Dawn is sitting with her with his eyes all glittering and sparkling around. We could clearly see that there was a lot of past sentence and past words that were being used, especially by Dawn. And he even pardoned himself and said, sorry, I didn't mean that. And now people are going to run away with that and say, why is he speaking past tense? I would agree with him there. Usually, we have to think about the pattern of speeches. Maybe that's the way people in Tennessee talk. Or maybe it's just that he's stressing so much that he doesn't realize that he's talking about it in the past tense. But as a therapist, I found that kind of fishy. Why would someone keep on? You can do it once or twice, even thrice. But if you keep on talking the past tense, it just makes us believe that, like, he's been talking about it in the past tense, and then he clearly used the word resurrection. It's just like a sum of maths. If you plus 2 and 2, it'll automatically turn 4. Candice herself in that interview did show a lot of lack of empathy. I know people have different ways of handling shocking news. God forbid, and thank God I haven't had any of my children or any children in my family missing. Thank God for that, and I don't wish that on anyone. Children should be safe no matter where they are, no matter what color they are, no matter what age they are, no matter what faith or what background they come from, whether they're rich or poor. That is our job jobs as parents, that's our jobs as a society and as a community to make sure that children are safe. I have never seen, I'll be honest, guys, an interview like Dawn and Candace besides Trizelle and Jacqueline. And actually, sorry, there was another one. We had, if y'all remember, I don't know if people were following 2 years ago, the case of baby Amari, the poor, handsome little boy who his mother Taylor and her boyfriend, what was his name? Terrell. Terrell Rhodes, was it? When she left her child to her boyfriend who just came out of prison, and he, trigger warning, he boxed him and beat him to death. And he dumped the poor baby Amari's body behind the McDonald's. That interview and this interview with Dawn and Candace and the interview with Trizelle and Jacqueline, for me personally, guys, this is just my opinion, have never sat right with me from the first second I heard it. I felt like it was a bunch of lies, a bunch of scripts that they prepared that doesn't seem to be isn't managing to convince anyone. And I really don't believe they've convinced the TBI or law enforcement either. It's just that I think law enforcement and the TBI are trying to build a case for the grand jury. The reason I say that allegedly is because we clearly remember, I believe it was 3 months ago, around February, March, that the defense attorney in Tennessee, I remember his surname, it was Armstrong. Mr. Armstrong himself did a small clip which is on WHJLR, was it? Yeah, on the interview on the website. He said that I'm here to back up the TBI and law enforcement with whatever evidence they bring me and for advice and guidance. So that is, for me at least, I took that as a clear sign that the TBI and law enforcement in Hawkins County and the FBI are definitely building a case for whoever got Summer gone, like Dawn said. What is shocking for me is that Candace has not shed tears. She shed fake tears, crocodile tears, every time we see Candace talking. In fact, most of the time she forgets to even shed a tear. And when she's shedding a tear, it'll be like, blah, blah, yelling and all that, and with a lot of distraction. And she and Dawn were drunk. It is just sad and shocking how these parents have been acting since the very first day that Summer, Moonwita Wells, got missing. That their timeline has changed. Their lives have just gone too far. And I believe that is the reason we YouTubers and public are trying to find answers. We are not law enforcement, we are aware of that. But I think that all the people that I've seen in Summer Moon Uta's Wells' case, most of us on YouTube, we all are very, very interested in this case. For me, the reason that I'm interested is this is not only about Summer, this is about her brothers too. I am sad, disappointed, and angry that not only Summer, 4 children had to go through this abuse, to child negligence, and worse. We even heard Allison, his mother, talking about the kids were fed with drugs and alcohol. That was back in January on JLR's channel. And I remember those summers as I was just thinking, oh, this case seems to be just getting more and more ridiculous. So I decided not to take much of her words because we can't take anyone's words seriously until the Tennessee Bureau of Investigation and law enforcement and the FBI get their job done. But everyone is entitled to opinion, I guess. From the start, I did believe Alice and his mother because if you all remember, guys, was her name Sherry? It was apparently Sherry who got to know Candice first, and that's how Candice and Allison became friends. We heard Sherry saying that I stopped going to that house because of the way they were treating the children. Point being, for the last couple of weeks, many of us, or actually I would say for myself, I was more like observing from the I was observing without getting caught up in it and without accusing anyone. That is about Jody Sue Brown. From the very first day that the Amber Alert was put out for Summer and the Endangerment Alert, I remembered we all watched the clip of Jody Sue telling WJHLR, she was telling Ensley Daniels that she heard a scream. Jody Sue Brown is a neighbor of Candice Wells. She didn't live that far away from them, but then I don't think she lived too close to them for her to have heard any screams. The reason I say that is I can back it up by what David Dobson said. If you all remember, David Dobson said from the start that the Wells' property is up on the hill. The nearest neighbors are, did he say a couple of miles or something, 50 miles or something? I don't know. He said that the neighbors are very far from them. We've heard the same from many other YouTubers who visited Ben Hills Road. So that automatically made me think from the first time we heard the interview, what is up with Jody Sue Brown? She said that it was around 4:30, between 4:30 to 4:42, that she heard an animal scream out there. And she said she heard a car pulling out, pulling up, or pulling up to the Ben Hill Road, or coming down from the Bell Hill Road. She said she heard a door slamming, and she said that after a couple of hours, she heard Candice yelling for Summer, and they were searching for Summer. And guys, if you watch my previous clips, you will understand. I've been saying from day one, if you hear such screams, people are different, but I know most of the people in the world would have maybe even called the neighbors to check if the neighbors are well. They would have gone outside, roamed around the property just to check their cameras or to check around if there was, example, abduction, if there was a kidnapper, if there was a criminal, if something extraordinary was happening. As a neighbor, you're supposed to do that. But strangely enough, Jody Sue did not do that. We've even heard that Jody Sue was one of the first people on the scene. Allegedly, there's many different things going on, and I've heard that Jody Sue was in the creek having a bath. We don't know if that is true, but I just found it odd that Jody Sue was near the creek area searching with the boys. So that automatically made me think that she is more involved in it. She was the adult who was there searching. So I personally believe, I'm not saying that Jody Sue did something to Summer, but I'm actually saying that Jody Sue is sitting with more information than she's telling us. I've always said that. That's why I do not want to speculate so much about her. But luckily now things are changing and we're hearing different stories. Now the shocking thing is, I'll put it in my clips, although they're small clips. Guys, I'm really sorry that my clips are not that clear. It's because I was just taking small important clips out of some people's interviews. I hope I don't get copy strike for that. But the reason I was doing that is to just like the defense attorney is doing, just to collect the evidence or collect whatever information we have, and then to basically sort them out and find out what can be possible and what is impossible. Now, in the clip that I put below, I'm sure many of you are aware of that Jody Sue Brown snitched on herself. I've been waiting for her to snitch on herself. I call Jody Sue Brown bedtime stories. There's many times when I get bored and when I'm tired, I try to replay everyone's clips and try to check in case there's any new information for precious little Summer. But Jody Sue, I try to always put her on at least a couple of times a week, and she'll start talking, mumbling, like everyone's aware of, smoking her cigarettes, accusing people, kind of threatening other YouTubers. We are aware of all that. But I'm not scared of Jody Sue. I'm not scared of anyone who was involved in this case, because I believe Summer Moon Wells and her brothers deserve their justice. Now, we've heard Jody Sue snitching on herself, talking about things like, she said that Summer is mother and father Candice Brandon Wells, apparently, allegedly, guys, was buying drugs from her boyfriend or fiancé, Andy. She said they would buy the drugs from Andy, and Dawn would give it to Candice, and Candice would sedate these children with drugs. When I heard that, it didn't sit right with me, but automatically I went back to the clip of JLR. Thank you, JLR, for that interview. And I checked what Sherry was talking about. And it does make sense. Because let's not forget, Sherry has known Candice for a while. And Jodie Sue Brown is the neighbor of Candice and Dawn. So there is a lot of truth in that. That's what I personally believe. Jodie Sue Brown said that those kids were fed with drugs. That's why Summer was sleepy. And then that makes me think, what choice of drugs, or should I say, what choice of poison were the Wells under? And the reason I say that is because these drugs are classified in A, B, C, D, at least here in Europe, and I'm sure in America too. Even the criminal charges for drugs is different. So I wonder if Summer got hold of fentanyl, or she got hold, God forbid, of anything else, heroin, cocaine, pills. Our grandmother went to get some pills that day. So could the grandmother have given Summer Moon Utawels a wrong pill? Is that the reason why the grandmother isn't talking? She spoke late on when Summer was missing for 11 months. And that raises alarms, of course. So when Jodie Sue Brown is going around saying that they provided, or Andy provided, Dawn and Candice drugs, and that they would use the drugs on their children, maybe to keep them calm, maybe to keep them absent from reality. God forbid, maybe the children was a struggle for Candice, since she was under so many addictions. God forbid, could she have basically thought that they were a burden? Because to be feeding your child with drugs, allegedly, and alcohol, and the children are only all under 11 years old. Summer was a slim little girl, petite little girl. So you can imagine if Summer got overdosed on some of the drugs. And I believe that possibility can really be true. Because the way when we saw Summer in the car, I hardly speak about that because I don't like to analyze. I'm not a nurse, I'm not a doctor. My professional job is mental health. I'm a mental health counselor, a practitioner, so I would only have knowledge of that part. But as a mother, as a woman in her 40s, I am done. I could see that clear picture of Summer in the car look like Summer was either poisoned, by drugs. She must have got herself into one of grandma's pills, or she must have got overdose by Candice and Dawn. My question is, if Jodie Sue Brown was aware of all that, how heartless is Jodie Sue Brown not to be informing law enforcement? How heartless is she when she keeps on coming on YouTube for the last 10, 11 months, making money on Summer's back. Jodie Sue Brown would start her lives. I don't do lives for a reason. From the start, I decided, at least for now, to just try and improve and advance my channel into advising people about mental health. Since it's an epidemic now with the mental health crisis. But I've heard many people in my comments, not many people, maybe 2, 3 people, passing rude comments. Actually, I did get one of them, a threat recently, and I won't even say what it was. It was just horrible, nasty things, and it was all about discrimination. Really bad discrimination. But the good thing is, I can handle it, thank God. So their threats, whoever was writing those threats and is being rude, I could have taken it further and reported it. As a mental health counselor, I know places I can directly report it to. But I really don't care. I don't care in a sense that I'm not going to entertain them by talking about them. That is like giving them, every minute I speak about them, that means I've just boosted them up and encouraged them on the bad behavior. And this here is about Summer Moon-Wells. So I know that I am the first YouTuber or in the last YouTuber who would get threats in cases people don't like us to be discussing about. But that doesn't bother me, because from day one, like I've said most of the time, there was 2 cases that has always sat strong in my heart. One is Sincere and Classic, aka Orrin and Austin, and the other was Summer Moon-Wells, who came 4-5 months after the West. Those 2 cases, I remember promising myself that I work enough. I have my own children to look after, although they're teenagers and one is above 20, but I still believed that I could do more, and I still intend to do more. But do more in a sense with ethical morals and not step over people that we think are allegedly suspects. That is why you never see me taking any interviews of any of these people, because I believe that is stepping on hot fire. I wouldn't do that, because I care for Summer Moon-Wells and I care for all the other cases like Sincere and Classic, and I do not want to tamper any cases, because by asking these people questions, you will end up being called in a court to answer and testify against all these things. And that is not my aim. Like, I'm a practitioner, a therapist, law enforcement have their skills for law enforcement. So I wouldn't disrespect them. I really believe that they are actually doing something behind the scenes. Although things seem to be going very slow, and many people say that in the comments, but people have to understand. People really have to understand that it takes time to build a case. I remember Trezell and Jacqueline West got arrested 13 months after they reported Orrin and Austin West, aka Chris, Sincere and Classic, Pettis. After they reported them missing, it took 13 months before an arrest was made. And now they're dealing with the grand jury. So I really do believe Mr. Armstrong is working on this case and they're fixing bits and pieces and trying to connect it. But like law and enforcement said, I really believe in that until somebody talks, I mean, at least somebody snitches, nothing is going to happen. And I believe the snitching time, like children say, is on. It's really on. Because you see, Jody Sue Brown talks from day to night, night to day, midday, mid-afternoon. She could be on for live for 12 hours. So that is one of the reasons I'm saying I don't do lives, because I believe I can get whatever I want to get across, or my thoughts, through just not being live. I don't like all the unprofessional and bad behavior that is going on YouTube and their lives. And it's the reason, one of the reasons for the last 5 months I've distanced in joining channels on their lives. I do have specific channels that I watch. I don't mind watching because I believe I can get useful information to help with Samamono Utuel's case. Well, it's nice to hear different YouTubers because you get different ideas, and it's nice to hear. In fact, it's more lovely to hear people writing down in the comments, especially my channel, because I really want to thank you all. You all are so special in my hearts, with all the kindness and all the loving words I get from you and all the encouragement. May you all remain blessed for that. And you all are not only professionals. I love my subscribers because they have so much good ideas and so much good questions that we discuss about. And in fact, it helps me sometimes when I read the comments from my subscribers and for people watching. Besides the rude ones, I love all of the other ones, because it's like they would say something and I would think, thank God I'm not the only one who was thinking about it that way. So I wasn't way off on the road. So it's nice to see, and it's nice to exchange ideas, because there are so many good people, and it would be unfair to mention certain names and not to mention the others. That's the reason. And confidentiality. I wouldn't mention people without asking their permission. But I just want to say all my subscribers are brilliant. They give me good advice at times, and I love advice, guys. Don't misunderstand. As long as it's not negative criticism about my race or my religion, I really love advice, because I even ask the people in my comments, please let me know if there's anything I can do better for this mental health awareness channel. And I can see all the people in my comments are different kind of people, but very wise and intelligent people, respectful, decent to each other, to each other's comments, decent to my comments. And may God bless you for that. So that is the reason I enjoy doing what I do on YouTube without taking it to any lives. Because that is where I personally believe all the unprofessionalism happens, is on live chats. You have people trashing each other. You have YouTubers on each other's backs. Or should I say on each other's throats. And it's not once or twice, it's always. I'm being honest, it's always, and it is concerning. Because that is one of the biggest forms of harassment and abuse in a mental way. Sometimes I watch people's lives, and all of the YouTubers are doing a fantastic job because, in some way or the other, we all are here for the same purpose, to get justice for the missing children and missing adults. I know people take on cases because most of them enjoy the cases. I want to be of help. But then there are some people who are just there to change the narratives or to be biased and take one side, and that is not right. Some people may think that I just blame the Wells, but it's not that. I'm just saying what I personally see. None of us are blind. We all see that. Where's the empathy? Where's the sympathy? Where's the remorse? Remorse. Where is there anyone from the Wells family, the neighbor Jody Sue Brown, who says she loves and cares for Summer? Where is the justice that none of them are doing searches? It's more like they're preventing people to do searches near their properties. What are they scared that we would find? Evidence of Summer? Or are they scared that we'll find Summer herself? God forbid. But I've said from day one, I have been doing active listening, using my skills and watching these people. And I said from June, July last year, I believe what Don Wells said when he said Summer is not around here. She's somewhere far, far away. He's not said that in one interview, guys. He said that in plenty of interviews. He said that drunk. He said that sober. So either it comes to one of the two. Maybe he's telling us that to distract us far away. Or maybe he's telling us that because she's actually far away, that he could have done something, or maybe he knows something, because it wouldn't be normal for people to say somewhere far away. Guys, do you all remember, actually, I just remembered when Trezella and Jacqueline was telling us that the boys Orvin and Orson West were missing. Do you all remember that Trezella said they would be here with his big mask? But then it was because they were opposite. They could be still there, but I don't think so, since we heard from defense attorney of the boys' case in California, Cynthia Zimmer. She clearly said that we have evidence that the boys never reached California City. So we are actually going deeper into criminal or criminology of criminals, how they behave. Lies, deceive, and more lies is just part of their agenda. Manipulating the case, harassing the victims, all are signs that somebody is a suspect or should be in the suspect list. Like, I'll give you a good example. Jody Sue Brown. She gets upset when people talk about her or mention her name. Of course, anyone will get upset if their names are being mentioned in a negative way. But when you are one of the neighbors who heard her scream, Jody Sue, you automatically become a person of interest. I wouldn't say a suspect, but a person of interest. But for the last 2-3 days with Jody Sue saying that Don and Candice were buying drugs off Andy, allegedly, and they were feeding it to Summer and her brothers. That is the reason Summer looked tired in the picture. I believe she upgraded herself from being a suspect, no, from being a person of interest to a suspect. She just loves to be inside this mix. I don't know, is it partly to make super chats and to get money? Or is it partly, like I said before, it could be both. I think her job is like Dawn. They all know exactly what happened, whether it was an accident or pre-planned. I believe they know what happened, and their job is to maneuver the narratives, to twist it around, to confuse us, to put us in a puzzle, and they just hope that the case wouldn't go anywhere. I have said that from day one, honestly. The reason I'm smiling is I remember I didn't even have a YouTube channel, and I was in many YouTube channels. And as soon as I used to say, let's check on Jodie Sue Brown, her story doesn't make sense, everyone used to attack me, saying, oh, she's a cancer patient, shame on you, Huda. I butted out immediately. I wasn't saying that because I didn't have empathy. I was saying that because I was doing my active listenings and I was using my skills as a therapist, and I could just see that she was lying through her teeth. It is very strange. If you watch all of Jodie Sue's clips, which I think I've watched, believe me, even when I fall asleep on a clip, I get up, I go to work, I leave it to the same spot. When I come back, I just play it on and watch it again. I even write notes of things she says, and I've noticed when Jodie Sue is asked an important question that can get her involved in it, automatically she starts mumbling, she starts looking at the balls, she starts smoking, and she jumps quickly to the next question. Or if she doesn't like the question, she cuss your ass. Sorry for my language, but that is really what Jodie Sue does. And nowadays she's got bodyguards from certain YouTubers trying to tell us they shouldn't be asking her any questions and all that. And for those YouTubers, I would say, darling, that is your business. My thoughts is my thoughts. What I see that isn't right is not going to stop me from what I believe and for digging more deeper into the BS that's going on. I've been watching 2, 3 creators who've been like kind of the guardian of Jodie Sue Brown, saying that you shouldn't be asking us so many questions and Jodie Sue Brown is innocent alone. Especially one person who thinks she runs the case. Without mentioning her name, you'll know. And I will never buy that. And I will never agree to that nonsense. I am buying what they're selling. Because they ain't the TBI. They ain't Summer's parents. They're just YouTubers, creators just like me and like most of us. Especially when I was watching those certain YouTube creators in the last couple of weeks defending Jodie Sue, that is when I started bringing back my old notes and started digging up into Jodie Sue Brown's nonsense. And I used to always think to myself, just wait for that one fine day when everybody notices it and starts asking more and more questions. And I appreciate every person who asks Jodie Sue any question, because y'all are a blessing, honestly. Y'all brought her to the stage that she's not that now she's snitching on herself, which is really good. Somebody had to do that. Another thing, guys, is I remember clearly, I've mentioned that before, in November, October, right before Christmas 2021, Jodie Sue came up and she was gathering money for her son. She said she wanted to gather super chats and she put her cash up there. I remember her saying in many channels, without mentioning names, that her son, her 19-year-old son, was getting threats and she wanted to move him far away from Tennessee. I found that to be a huge red flag. Because why would you be getting threats if you're not involved. And let's not forget it was her son and her that came up on the WHJL interviews. So I am surprised. Another thing Jodie Sue clearly said around October timings and September timings last year, she said that I'm so concerned for my daughter, my 13-year-old daughter who goes to school. I'm so scared that somebody will just try to come into the school and pretend to be her father or parents and take her. And there's so much going on in Tennessee. Guys, do you remember? She deleted all her clips. That's how you know when somebody is up to no good. She had over 40, 50 clips? She's been deleting all these clips for the last couple of months. Luckily, some of us have saved some of the clips. I have many clips of Jodie Sue. Let's call it the Jodie Sue Brown's greatest hits and bedtime stories. But heads up, many of them are just the mumbling. But in the mumbling, you'll always find something that will make you go, there's something there. For her to be getting defensive and attacking anyone who asks a question that can get her more involved is a clear sign that, for me personally, that somebody is involved or guilty or they're hiding information. Now the question is, Jodie Sue Brown, if you're watching, what kind of a human being are you? I just have to ask that. What kind of a mother are you? Because you said it from your own words, from your own mouth. You said that Candice and Dawn was buying drugs from Andy, allegedly, so that they could give their children the drugs, and you said Summer got sleepy, and you believe that they must have given her the drugs, a lot of the drugs. Overdose, basically. So Jodie Sue Brown, if you were aware, you wouldn't, I don't know what you do at home with your children, but I assume that you wouldn't even give your own children drugs and alcohol. And these poor children, some of their brothers, are all under 12. They are much younger than your children. So what kind of a person are you? Even if you weren't feeding the children with drugs, you could see what Dawn and Candice was doing. So my question is, guys, I really want to ask Jodie Sue, did they sell them some bad drugs? Was it serious class A drugs? Like phenytoin was it called? Phenytoin, yeah. Was it heroin? What kind of drugs, what kind of pills were these people accessing that they gave these children? Especially Summer. Of course, an overdose would have happened easy. If you look at the symptoms of overdoses and all, you will see some people do swell up. You could see the change of color under Summer's eyes, above her eyelashes. You could see her lips were all purple blue, and that was in slush and all that. That was their narratives. I believe wherever they went to, and if the law enforcement confirms that they've been to those places, it was just to build a timeline, to make an alibi. That's what I believe. And I'm not going to take my eyes off Allison, because Allison and Hunter's interview is so full of it. so full of crap. Lies, lies, lies. And Alison was coaching her son from the start towards the end. She was giving him a lot of eye contact. The only thing left for her was to just wink at him alone. That is what I do for a living as a therapist. As a cognitive behavior therapist, we analyze people's thoughts, how they speak, and try and find out where the negative thought circle is coming from that is contributing to their low self-esteem, their emotions running low, and that can lead to their behavior, lashing out, or maybe the behavior being locking themselves away from society whatsoever. So I just sit, watch Alison's interview. I used to write down notes, and at 1 hour 34 minutes and above with Chris McDonough, he did an excellent interview. Please like, share, and subscribe to Chris. You could clearly see Chris asking Hunter, so Hunter, where were you after Candice dropped you off home? And when she called you to tell you that Summer was missing, I'll never forget, he said it was around 7:30. And he was asked, where were you? And I was just paying attention to Alison because I could see she was very fishy from the start. She and Grandbum. Grandbum was sitting with her, answering some of the questions, even when she was not asked, because I believe she was helping them with the narrative. I believe personally they kept Sherry away from the news because Sherry would have snitched on them. Alison's mom should have been brought from day one. I believe the case would have been solved within 2 months. Candice dropped off Hunter, and then she called him at 7:30 and said Summer's gone. And then Chris asked directly, Hunter, where were you when she called you? He says, he looks at his mother, and the mother gives him the eyes, and she says, the park, the park. Guy, she was whispering the park twice, and then Hunter says immediately, I was at the park. So when I've heard before that, I wouldn't say from who, but even I've heard from people who've conducted the interview that there wasn't any coaching going out. The good thing I like about social media is whatever you say remains there. And that is at 1 hour 34 minutes. So the question is, if Hunter wasn't in the park, where was Hunter? That is an important question. Was he actually in Ben Hill? Was he involved? Was he ever dropped back home? And we clearly heard the neighbors telling Emma, please like, share, and subscribe to Emma. Love you, Emma. They told Emma, the 2 women or 3 women who were sitting in the front porch, Alison's neighbors, they said that we were in the park that day and we did not see Hunter and his girlfriend. So that just proves that when he was coached by mother to say the park, he wasn't in the park. And I believe that's very important. I don't know why people are not looking more into that. Where was Hunter? And Hunter, although he's a minor, is a very important piece of this puzzle. Because let's not lie to each other. Law enforcement took all the devices and all the mobiles that Hunter has. He still hasn't got it back. So what did Hunter do? We know that Candice kept her device. She gave one device and she kept the other mobile for a very long time. We even heard she threw it down a lake, which we do not know. But I hope that law enforcement are following and checking all this. The thing that I liked is Don said clearly in the behavior panel that they took both our TVs, the TBI, and they took the Canon camera. He said a family Canon camera that we've had all the pictures of the family. And that is a very good thing, because the FBI forensics team and the data genius and the TBI are definitely going to put their tracks together. I personally believe that this case, when people believe that they're not working on the case, I believe they're working on it. But I think it's just a bit more difficult because they have to put in fill in the blanks and put in what sounds reasonable and get in evidence. And I believe it's someone in Ben Hills Creek who hurted Summer or got Summer gone. Whether it's Dawn, whether it's Candace, whether it's Jody Sue Brown, whether it's her son, whether it's Fred Hill, whether it's Andy, allegedly. It's somebody in the neighborhood. Somebody knows something. Even add Robin Lane to the list. I would even add the church into the list. I would add David Dobson in the list. I would have definitely added even what's his name? Dudley John. I would have added him too. The reason I would just say God forbid, God rest his soul, because they all are people of interest. Hunter would have added Allison, Leslie, because this neighborhood knows everything that was going on. They knew that these children were fed drugs and alcohol, and they didn't do anything about it. When somebody is quiet and watching children being abused, because that's what Jody Sue Brown said, trigger warning, guys, she said that Summer was sexually abused in many of her clips. And I have that all in evidence, and so does many of us. If she knew that Summer was being molested or being abused, if she knew that these children were put on drugs and being sedated, why didn't she report it to the CPS? I can only think of a couple of motives. Maybe she was making business with them. Maybe they were selling drugs, or maybe they were selling small children. And maybe, like Mary Hartman said earlier on, around, was it September or something? I remember she said in one of the clips, I believe it was Amner Tanks Investigates, this clip. I can't remember which one. Please like, share, and subscribe to all the people I mentioned if you're interested. Jody Sue Brown said a lot of things there. And it all sounded like some kind of sex offense going on in the neighborhood. Could have it been possibly human trafficking? We've heard that from Donnie's own mouth, the Mexican mafias. We've heard all kind of alibis and theories that kind of bring us closer to what it's looking like now. So Jody Sue, are you making business of the children? I mean both ways, whether it was sex offenses or whether it was giving these children drugs to do some certain kind of favors. I don't understand, and none of us do. This is all allegedly, guys. But the truth needs to come out. And we need to continue putting pressure in a decent way, because I refuse to let Summer's case go cold. And I know thousands of people in the world are standing with me on that. I've noticed we all are united in certain cases. These people should be arrested for child negligence, child abuse, drugs, alcohol allegedly being given to children. And then I can come to the mental side, the mental health side of it. I personally have said that many times. I believe that there's many mental health illnesses with Candace, with Dawn, whether it's bipolar or whether it's antisocial personality disorder, psychopath, whether they're sociopaths with their criminal lives. There is many mental issues and cognitive issues going on with this family. Then you have the other side of negligence, which clearly we hear from the TBI themselves that Summer was last seen barefoot. How far could a barefoot child go? And another thing that I do not believe is Summer couldn't have wandered off, because why would it, if Summer wandered off and just say, let's say, theoretically speaking, just say that Summer was unhappy with everything that was going on and she just wanted to run away from the family. That does happen. But how far can a 5-year-old go? Barefoot, guys. Remember that. Like Andy said, there were snakes and coyotes and bears and all. So why would someone do that? Donna said in each and every interview, even to the behavior panel, please like, share and subscribe, he clearly said that we taught Summer better. We put fear into her not to wander off and that they're dangerous people. And he said he told his sons to always look after Summer. Then we have another red flag with Don always saying in his interviews. This was actually kind of a red flag. I just remembered. Don was saying things like, oh my God, he was talking about Summer being at home. And he said that I would never let Summer go on, but I go out at all. But he said I just had it in my mind and forgot it. It was, yeah, he said we put in fear into Summer. She would never leave the yard. So if he put into so much fear into Summer, and he said Summer wouldn't leave the yard, why would Summer just leave the yard that day? And Jody Sue Brown said she was tired and sleepy when she saw her, and she believes they gave her too much drugs, or they gave her drugs. So why would a child who is sleepy, now let's think, guys, let's think in the mental health perspective. Let's think in the psychological way. How far can a child who's on drugs, who's only 5 years old, allegedly wander off to? Not far. Because if the drugs was too heavy, she would have fallen down. She would have collapsed. And these people, if that is the truth, like Jody Sue Brown is saying, which I really do believe, they're not going to call. They're not going to call the hospitals, or they're not going to call 911, because they are criminals. Candace has been a criminal. Dawn has been a double criminal then. So what are they going to say? Call the police and say, yeah, hello, can you please send the emergency? What do you need? An ambulance. Why? Oh, a 5-year-old daughter just got herself into some drugs. Obviously, you know, guys, what's going to happen. They would have been arrested. And Donna's always told us, I am not going to go to jail. I hate going to prison. So why would he call? He must have just told Candace, don't call anyone. Meet me down the creek. During the daytime, he must have taken Summer far, far away. And that is where the dog trail came into. Don obviously knows that house and the property so well. It belongs to his mother. They've been living there for over 6 years. He knows the property in and out, so he must have thought it out well. Like, okay, may go the same path so that he can later on say somebody abducted her from the dog trails. He calls the dog stupid. And we've heard from everyone, from Allison's mother, from the YouTubers, and from many other people, that those dogs will bark. Allison said they will chew you off if they don't know you. Jose explained to us about the incident he had with the dogs trying to jump on him and Grandma to calm them down. So these dogs are just sad that they can't talk. Others, they would have snitched out on them. I really don't understand why the stop has searched. And Jody Sue Brown, if your version is true that Summer was given drugs, that's why she was sleepy and maybe she overdosed, then you should be arrested immediately, I hope so, for wasting law enforcement's time, for wasting the public's time, including me, for trying to hide a crime. You decided to come on YouTube and make yourself money out of Summer's case. The reason I'm saying that is because I don't make lives, I don't need people's super chats. And guys, that I'm saying with all due love and respect. I love all my subscribers and respect them dearly. But when I've got one or two comments before saying, so you're trying to make money off Summer's case? And I'm fed up of writing and answering people. Some of them I just ignore them and block them. But the truth is, I don't need super chats. I'm a working woman. I have a decent job. I get well paid and I look after my family well. I am not going to be getting super chats out of poor, innocent children. It's unfortunate cases. But my channel is called Hood London Mental Health and Crime because I wanted to spread awareness, especially for children and people who do not have a voice of their own. Yeah, guys, coming back to the thing I just forgot a couple of minutes ago, it came back to me, thank God. Guys, do you remember that Don used to always say, oh, I told my boys and I told Candace, look after Summer. I was always worried that Summer would be gone. Why would he say that? Let's look at it in a psychological way. Is he trying to say it so that he can distance himself and say that I wasn't involved? Or is he saying that because he knows exactly what happened to Summer? Don tried even convincing us about his dreams. Oh, I had this dream and Summer came to me and she was... Actually, guys, that was a very important one. I think he said it in Cher's channel. I'll try and find that clip. He says that, and you should always guys, this is my personal opinion. And I've been doing that from when I was young. And it does make sense in the mental health way too. Listen to people's dreams, especially a suspect or a person of interest. He said that I was in one of my construction sites and then I saw someone, she came running to me and I said, Summer, where were you? And she said, Daddy, I was just here. And he said, she looks so bright and beautiful and all. And after that dream, he said, I knew Summer was gone. Then he said he had another dream that was similar to this. I can't remember what that was about. So when he said it was a place like, he said like a warehouse, I need to go back to that clip. It's very interesting. So my question is, could he have taken Summer and buried her in one of the houses he was working in? Was it a warehouse? Somebody he knows? Somebody who could help him with these crimes? These people owe each other favors. That's how the drug world goes. Allegedly. We've seen enough movies, we've seen enough things of the real world and how things can happen. This guy's always been talking about his dreams. He's always been talking about resurrection. He's told us that he has 7 alibis. He said, I have 7 alibis. Candace has not. She's going down. Those words keep playing in my mind, even when I'm at work. What did he mean by that? And when he said that, if you'll remember the clip in MGL, Molly Golightly's clip, with Laura and Don, although he was drunk, he said, I have 7 alibis. You're speaking straight, clear. Candace has none. She's going down. And then he mentions, he said, my friend even Starling can support me on that. And that is one thing that did not make sense to me, because she jumped quickly. She was like saying all nasty, filthy words like Candace usually does. But Candace said, what are you saying, Starling? Are you trying to steer me on in the pot? So guys, basically, I hope that you'll really look into it further. Watch all of Dawn's dreams, because it may actually lead us somewhere, guys. Anyway, please like, share, and subscribe. Thank you very much. Guys, have a lovely, splendid weekend. Thank you. Bye.